Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that literally impacts every single one of us every single day. We spend so much time obsessing over how to optimize our diets, how to get in shape, or how to hack our daily schedules. But we rarely stop to think about how our everyday routines are actively affecting our actual cognitive strength. So, we're going to methodically unpack the psychology and the neuroscience behind these really subtle everyday choices we make. And I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to look at your daily routine in a completely different light. I want you to just stop and really consider this for a second. What if you are quietly, accidentally, making yourself less intelligent? It sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? I mean, most of us believe that as we go through life, reading articles, picking up new tips, finding life hacks, we're actively improving ourselves, right? We think we're getting sharper. But what if the exact opposite is happening? What if these seemingly harmless choices we make every day are actually sabotaging our brain power and training our minds to just become fundamentally weaker? And here's the really scary part about all of this. This kind of cognitive decline doesn't just happen overnight. It's not this dramatic moment where you suddenly wake up and forget how to do your job. It's way more insidious than that. It happens slowly, silently, just one habit at a time. It's like a leaky faucet of mental fatigue building up through repeated, everyday actions that we don't even realize are harming us. If you're doing even one of the 5 habits we're about to cover, your brain is probably already paying a pretty heavy price. So let's jump right into it. Habit 1, constant scrolling. Be totally honest with yourself. Think about the very last time you unlocked your phone. Did you actually need to check an important email? Or did your thumb just automatically, like a magnet, open Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube Shorts purely out of habit? For most of us, we don't even think about it anymore. We get literally 1 second of downtime, and our fingers do the walking before our brain even registers what's happening. It's basically a trap. Modern apps are engineered by some of the most brilliant minds on the planet to hijack your attention for as long as humanly possible. Think about the cycle. You swipe, you see a notification or a shiny new video, and boom, your brain gets this tiny, super potent hit of dopamine. Over time, your brain actually gets addicted to this cycle of instant, effortless stimulation. And the result? Lost focus. When it's actually time to sit down and read, study, or solve a tough problem at work, your mind fiercely struggles to stay on task because it is desperately craving that easy dopamine hit you've trained it to expect. And that scrolling habit bleeds right into habit 2, constant distractions. I want you to imagine trying to sit down and read a really dense, complex book, but someone is standing right next to you, literally poking you in the shoulder every 30 seconds. That sounds absolutely impossible, right? You'd never absorb a single word. Well, that is exactly what digital notifications are doing to your brain. Every vibration, every pop-up, every chime, it's a digital poke in the shoulder. Think about how this plays out in real time. At 0 seconds, that notification pops up. By 30 seconds, your focus is entirely broken as you read the message. But here's the real penalty. Research shows that it takes several minutes to fully regain that state of deep concentration. It's not a switch you can just flip back on. So when this happens dozens of times a day, maintaining the deep thinking required for high-level problem solving becomes almost biologically impossible. Okay, let's shift gears from our digital habits over to our physical ones. Habit 3 is sleeping too little. There is this massive, really toxic misconception in hustle culture that you have to grind all day and all night to get smarter or more successful. But the science is absolutely crystal clear on this. Your brain does not become smarter while you are awake. It becomes smarter while you sleep, period. And we often justify it, don't we? We stay up late to watch just one more episode or send just one more email, thinking losing a tiny bit of sleep won't really hurt. But losing just 1 or 2 hours of sleep every single night, that can drastically reduce your concentration, totally slow down your thinking, and severely damage your ability to actually learn new information. It is a massive cognitive penalty for a really small sacrifice in time. Because during those crucial hours of rest, your brain is actually working overtime. First, it's literally flushing out the metabolic waste that builds up during the day. Second, it's strengthening and solidifying all the memories and information you absorbed while you were awake. And third, it's building entirely new neural connections. If you cut that process short, you are basically operating with a brain full of waste, weak memories, and severed connections. You simply cannot outwork a tired brain. Which brings us to habit 4, avoiding difficult thinking. Now, this one is incredibly common because it hides right behind the illusion of productivity. We spend hours consuming information, listening to podcasts, watching motivational videos, reading inspiring quotes, and we tell ourselves, hey, I'm learning. But let's be really clear here. Consuming information is absolutely not the same thing as actively thinking. Reading quotes isn't learning, and watching a motivational video is definitely not the same as rolling up your sleeves and doing the hard work to solve a complex problem. It really comes down to this massive divide between comfort and challenge. Comfort definitely makes life easier, but challenge? Challenge is what actually makes your brain stronger. Your brain is so much like a muscle. It only truly grows when it meets resistance. Every single time you force yourself to sit with a really difficult puzzle, or you clumsily try to learn a new skill, or you face a tough question without instantly Googling the answer, you're forcing your brain to build stronger, denser neural pathways. And that leads us to our final and honestly probably the most surprising point. Habit number 5, never being bored. Think about the modern world for a second. We have effectively eradicated every single moment of silence and stillness from our lives. Waiting in line for coffee, phone comes out. Sitting on the train, phone comes out. The absolute second we feel even slightly understimulated, we immediately reach for a digital pacifier.
But we've got boredom all wrong. It isn't this negative state that we have to avoid at all costs. It's actually one of the absolute healthiest states for your brain. It's the designated time for your mind to naturally make connections between completely random ideas. It's when your brain reflects on the past, imagines the future, and actually creates. Without the quiet silence of boredom, your brain is basically just a processing machine that never gets the empty space it needs to synthesize information and think deeply.
So, what does this all mean? Well, here is the ultimate turning point of this explainer. The truth is, your IQ isn't fixed. Let that sink in for a second. Your brain's capability isn't some permanent score stamped on your forehead the day you were born. Thanks to neuroplasticity, your brain is changing every single day based on the inputs you give it. Every single habit we just talked about is either actively strengthening your mind or slowly, silently weakening it. And the incredibly empowering news here is that you don't need a naturally higher IQ to become smarter. You just need better habits. So, how do we actually fix this? We've got 5 rapid-fire daily solutions to start reclaiming your mind. These are the deliberate decisions you've got to make every single day. Read more than you scroll. Force your brain to follow long-form logic. Sleep more than you sacrifice. Give your brain the actual time it needs to clean and rebuild itself. Think more than you consume. Wrestle with the hard problems. Protect your attention from digital interruptions like your life literally depends on it. And finally, embrace boredom. Seriously, just let your mind wander. Building a stronger, more capable mind is entirely within your control through these small, daily acts of discipline. I want to leave you with a really powerful thought from Think Atlas HQ to wrap up this explainer today. Your greatest asset isn't your money, it isn't your talent, it's your mind. If you recognized a little bit of your own daily routine in this explainer, I challenge you to make a change today. Choose knowledge over distraction and protect your mind. So, which of these 5 habits are you going to break first to reclaim your intelligence? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll catch you in the next one.